The Dodgers entered the final game of their three-game series against the Pirates at Dodger Stadium in high spirits after winning 5 consecutive games. With plenty of confidence, the Dodgers continued to control the game behind a steady pitching performance from Blake Snell, in an offense that took advantage of its opportunities. The Dodgers ultimately won 14-0, completing the sweep of the Pirates and officially reaching 80 wins on the season. In the first inning, Shohei Ohtani made an impact without even needing a hit, batting leadoff as the designated hitter. He once again showed patience at the plate, refusing to chase pitches outside the strike zone and eventually drawing a walk. After reaching base, Ohtani immediately used his speed to steal second successfully. Freeman then singled to center field, putting runners on first and third with no outs. With a favorable opportunity, Mookie Betts hit a ground ball towards shortstop, but the Pirates handled it well and turned a double play. Even so, Ohtani was still able to score from third, bringing home the first run and giving the Dodgers the lead. That opening run proved especially valuable because Blake Snell was nearly in complete control of the Pirates lineup on the mound. Snell mixed his fastball with several different breaking pitches, frequently changing speeds and locations to make it difficult for Pittsburgh hitters to create quality contact. Although he allowed a few runners to reach base, Snell remained composed and handled the important situations well. That allowed the Dodgers to maintain their slim lead while waiting for the offense to create more separation. The home offense began doing exactly that in the fourth inning. The Dodgers used a hit by pitch and a hit to put runners on first and second with 2 outs. That was when the hitters near the bottom of the batting order made the difference. Alek Thomas stepped to the plate and delivered an RBI single, increasing the Dodgers' lead to 2-0. Immediately afterward, Hunter Feducia kept the rally going with another RBI hit, bringing home the Dodgers' third run. The 3-0 cushion gave Snell even more confidence on the mound. With a larger lead on the scoreboard, he could focus more on attacking hitters rather than simply avoiding mistakes. The Dodgers continued applying pressure in the fifth inning after putting runners on first and third with no outs. Maxey hit a ground ball back toward the pitcher. The play was not scored as a hit, but the runner from third still had enough time to score and extend the lead to 4-0. With 4 runs of support, Snell was able to control the game even more comfortably. Over 6 innings, Snell allowed only 2 hits and 3 walks while striking out 6 and keeping the Pirates scoreless. Although his command was not perfect, he did an excellent job limiting hard contact and never allowed Pittsburgh to create a big inning. After Snell left the mound, the Dodgers bullpen continued to keep the game under control. Edgardo Enriquez entered in the 7th inning and quickly retired all 3 Pirates hitters. Brock Stewart did the same in the 8th, preserving the 4-run advantage. Alex Villa took the mound in the 9th with the task of closing out the victory. Although he walked Brandon Lowe to begin the inning, he remained in control and did not allow Pittsburgh to generate any further pressure. Villa quickly regained his command, retired the remaining hitters cleanly, and preserved the 4-0 score to complete the Dodger shutout. After a game in which the Dodgers had controlled almost everything, the emotional contrast between the two teams became especially clear. The Dodgers' offense had consistently produced runs, while the pitching staff completely shut down the Pirates' lineup and gave Pittsburgh hitters very few chances to respond. Being forced to play from behind throughout the game while watching the Dodgers celebrate successful moments reportedly caused frustration on the Pirates' side to continue building. As soon as the game ended, tensions truly erupted when several Pirates players chose not to leave the field or exchange the customary post-game greetings. Instead, they approached a group of Dodgers players and began arguing. Among them, Bryan Reynolds and Brandon Lowe reportedly directed most of their attention towards Shohei Ohtani, repeatedly making hostile remarks toward him. At first, the situation remained only a verbal confrontation. Lowe was the first to move closer to Ohtani, while Reynolds stood behind him and continued participating in the argument. However, the atmosphere began to change when the insults were no longer focused on the game or what had happened on the field. According to the account attributed to ESPN, both Lowe and Reynolds even made insulting remarks involving Ohtani's family. That was the point when Ohtani's reaction clearly changed. The Dodger star is known for remaining composed and rarely allowing verbal confrontations to affect him, but the described footage showed him immediately turning back after hearing comments directed at his family. The situation quickly moved beyond a verbal argument. Lowe suddenly shoved Ohtani hard in the upper body, Almost immediately afterward, Reynolds reportedly joined in, causing Ohtani to absorb additional contact around his shoulder and chest. Because he was not prepared for the impact, Ohtani lost his balance and was forced backward as a surrounding area quickly became chaotic. After seeing their teammate being attacked, Mookie Betts, Kuka, and several other Dodgers players quickly rushed over to shield Ohtani and pushed the Pirates players away. Some players tried to pull Ohtani away from the center of the incident, while others directly confronted the Pirates. Within seconds, dozens of people had gathered in the same area, and the risk of a large-scale fight became very real. More Pirates players also began coming onto the field. Shoving, grabbing and arguing continued as the space between the two teams virtually disappeared. In situations like this, one additional act of retaliation can quickly turn the entire confrontation into a full-scale brawl. The coaching staffs and umpiring crew therefore had to intervene immediately. Some umpires stood directly between groups of players to create separation, while security personnel were brought in to remove those who had lost control from the area. According to the reports described, video footage became an important part of the review process. MLB focused particularly on determining who approached first, who initiated the physical contact, and whether Ohtani had done anything provocative before being shoved. Those details are especially important because a verbal argument is evaluated very differently from situation in which players deliberately approach and physically attack an opponent. The review reportedly showed that Lowe and Reynolds were the ones who approached Ohtani aggressively. As a result, MLB opened an emergency investigation. The umpire and crew was required to submit a detailed report. Security personnel provided accounts of what they had witnessed, and television footage together with stadium camera recordings were used to reconstruct the entire sequence of events. MLB's disciplinary body issued a strong statement: "What happened was completely unacceptable. MLB always places respect, safety and sportsmanship among its highest priorities." Brandon Lowe and Brian Reynolds were ultimately handed 10-game suspensions. That would represent significant discipline, especially late in the season when every game can directly affect the postseason race. Meanwhile, strictly in terms of hits, Ohtani did not have a particularly productive game. After drawing a walk and successfully stealing a base in the first inning, he was unable to maintain that effectiveness in his next plate appearance and struck out. In his final two at-bats, he hit a ground ball towards shortstop and a fly ball to left field, but neither resulted in a hit. Ohtani finished the game 0-43 with one walk and one stolen base. The result lowered his season batting average to 288, while his OPS dropped to 934. However, those numbers do not fully reflect the impact Ohtani had on this game. His ability to reach base, and his aggressiveness on the base paths, meant the Pirates could never ignore him in any situation. Simply having Ohtani on base can change how opponents approach the hitters behind him, especially when he is willing to attempt steals. More importantly, the win continued to show that the Dodgers were regaining balance on both offense and pitching. Earlier in the season, the team had dealt with problems involving run production, bullpen consistency, and execution in decisive moments. But a 6-game winning streak suggested that many of those issues were beginning to improve. 2 consecutive series of sweeps also carried considerable psychological value. These were no longer isolated victories, but the beginning of a clearly positive run of form. If the Dodgers can continue combining strong pitching, a stable bullpen, and an offense capable of producing runs in multiple ways, they will be in a very strong position as they enter the more important stage of the season. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to follow the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with the biggest MLB fan you